All right, here we are, and we are back with episode 5 of Mechanics of Myth. And we finally got everything up, or at least most things up. We are on Spotify now. So, hey,
Yeah.
that's
Spotify, as some people say.
you said what?
Spotify, as some say.
So yeah, Spotify. Listen, Spotify. As long as it gets to the thing out there, we can call it Daisy Picklesworth for all we know. That was just off the top. That listen, we gonna edit that out.
Terrible
So
name.
so and we're on YouTube. And we're seeking out to get to some other places. Hopefully we can get it on, Apple podcasts. But I feel like everybody's going to Spotify now, so I don't know how much of a big deal it is, but it's definitely on uh Spotify and YouTube. So hey, we're good. Um, and what was I gonna say? No, I think that was it. So well, if you're new here, we just talk about games and mechanics and the story that flows from them and try to mesh the ideas. And sometimes we just go on rants about who knows what. So sometimes a little bit of randomness goes in there so we can keep things interesting. So yeah, but I
We
know.
do what we do.
Yeah, we do what we do. And yeah, so I know, Jordan, before we started talking, we was just talking about the couple of games from like that we've been playing like that, well, that we played some years ago, right? That we're like, okay, as far as these games, they have aged quite a bit. From when we first played them, they were on different consoles. You got to think about how many different console cycles. Like I think the game that I'm thinking of was back on Xbox, the original Xbox, the
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
2003, 2004, somewhere around that time. And
Hmm.
so, and so, um, and so like the mechanics of it have just been aged and dated. And so now we up to, you got to consider what we up to now. We up to Xbox One and no, yeah, I just didn't finish it. Xbox One Series S. They made the names too doggone long. S- Side
PS5.
rant, side rant. When they named that junk Xbox One, they like they messed the whole game up. No pun intended. They messed the whole thing up. I don't, that's like naming your son boy or your daughter girl. That's been like, why would you do that to the kid? You don't do that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, no. And so with all the things that we're at now, got realistic graphics. We have, it seems like within like the PlayStation 3 era, Xbox 360 era, we kind of locked down a control scheme that has then persisted to Xbox One as well as PlayStation 4 and then Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. And it seems like the kind of general mechanics of the game has like kind of stayed so long. So then I would ask you, what is the game that you're thinking of and how could you improve the mechanics? And what's the compare and contrasting like?
So I actually thought of another game as well, but I'm going to start with the original thought, which is Star Wars Battlefront 2
Okay.
on the PS2. The not the um crazy garbage hot whatever burning pile of steam they came out with on the PS4 in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But Star Wars Battlefront 2 back on the PS2. Like that game was in another league of its own. Like it was an amazing game.
Yeah, it was goaded.
Problem. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I mean, come on. I honestly think that that game spurred on what we know as Battlefield 4, Call of Duty, like everything. If you think back, like there wasn't really a game that did the skirmishes the way that Battlefield 2 did it, whether you were online or not online. You know,
Yeah.
if you were just playing the campaign, it was this giant skirmish where you had to like, and I think that's honestly why a lot of us 90s kids really got into Battlefield 4 and really got into the Call of Duty Warzone for a little bit until, you know, the Fortnite kids came in and kind of ruined it. But
Yeah.
it really had great mechanics. And one thing that I would say it definitely changed from Battlefield 1 to Battlefield 2. Battlefield 2, you were actually able to lay prone and shoot at people from a
Mhm.
distance if you wanted to
Yeah.
and hide in brushes and stuff like that. Battlefield 2, you couldn't do that. Like I think you could only squat or something like that. But so that was one of those things where it was like kind of took away from movement on that. That and the jumping ability wasn't the best. I think what they did with the healing factors were pretty cool between the ammo droids, the medic droids, and also picking up the packs. Um, I wish they would have done way better when it came to space combat and everything. Because if I, dude, this is what I would do.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
This little insight into Jordan mind at this point.
Yeah.
I'm fine playing space games and flying around and shooting things. Okay, I played Star Fox on the Nintendo 64. That was my jam for a long time.
Hmm.
I could not for the life of me fly those stupid space anything like it was terrible. I would always get blown up. I'd always get shot out of the sky. So what I would do is I would take down the shield array. As soon as that thing was down, I was boarding that ship, jumping out, setting a spawn point, and getting to work. And I would destroy from the inside out,
Yeah.
which it's great that they gave you that opportunity because not a lot of games do that. But it was also one of those where it kind of took away from the space battle in and of itself, you know, because it was like the whole time, I'm not trying to take out all these things on the top. I'm trying to take out enough to where I can get inside and then cause mayhem
Right.
because this is ridiculous. Um, and also it was kind of like the one thing I will say it was a little balanced,
Hmm.
skew if you remember correctly. Like you knew if you were playing Separatists versus the Republic, there's a good chance you're going to lose.
Yeah.
A good chance you're going to lose. And it was kind of like if you wanted to be on the winning team, you just went Republic because Separatists were just constantly going to get destroyed. Empire and Rebels, it was kind of a little bit more balanced, but then you started figuring out, oh, we're on Hoth. Okay, I want to be the Rebels. Oh, we're on uh, oh, what was the other planet?
Dagobah.
Endor. I want to
Oh.
be Dagobah. Endor. Yeah, Dagobah, you wanted to be the Empire for sure. Endor, you wanted to be the Empire. You know, and it's just like that level of balance kind of really messed things up.
Hmm.
So I think it would have been better for them to not necessarily follow lore as much and follow more, you know, like okay, if you it's an evenly stacked team. If you're on one side, it might be more stacked than the other because you're an actual player versus NPCs.
Right.
So you might be able to play it better. That would be my biggest gripe is like I would let out a deep sigh if I started an assault, whatever it was, space combat, and I was a separatist. I was like, I'm gonna lose.
Right.
You already knew it right out of the gate. You're like, I am losing this match. This sucks. Um, and also with the when you go to Mos Eisley, did you ever play the Assault on Mos Eisley where you got to play as all the heroes?
Actually, no. So Battlefront isn't a game that Battlefront 2 actually isn't a game that I like had or owned.
Oh, really?
Right. But here's the reason why I know how good it is.
Yeah.
Because when the original episode 3 came out,
Mhm.
You could put like if you had the 2 disc special,
Mhm.
you could
Mhm.
put the DVD in the Xbox and it was a playable demo. And I was like, and when I played it, I was like, wait a minute. You can go from ground to space or something like that. I was
Mhm.
like, I don't think
Mhm.
I ever seen that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Nah,
still
it was
think that's
definitely before its time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, this has something to it, but I
Yeah.
don't like how it I I mean it was the technology at the time, I think. So now that I know more, I can kind of nitpick about it more, but back then it was just like, yo, I ain't never
Uh,
seen this before. Get like
yeah.
you said, getting in and out and going into space and then yeah, and then landing on the planet. I was just like, and no loading screens. That's because yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's loading screens.
Like when you do the skirmishes from space to ground.
No, no, not when you do skirmishes. But it wasn't so much you're landing on planets as much as so the space battles were like you have your space station, they have theirs, and then you have all these little ships that you can fly around like X-wings, A-wings, stuff like that.
But you couldn't. I thought you could go a seamless transition from ground to space.
Non-Battlefield 2.
Maybe I'm thinking of the original
Maybe
Battlefield.
Battlefield 1. Yeah.
I keep saying Battlefield, Battlefront. Um,
Battlefront. Yeah, you
yeah,
got me mixed up.
yeah, yeah. That was
Battlefront.
my bad.
You're
But
good.
maybe that was the one that they showed during E3 2015, and they was gonna make
Mm.
that. They was gonna make another, and that was supposed to be Battlefront 3. And so when they showed it in the
Oh.
thing, they went from ground to space, and it had good graphics back then. You know?
Oh, yeah, no, that's completely different
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
Battlefield 2 was made back
Front.
in like, yeah, Battlefront. You messed me up. I'm gonna want to say Battlefield this whole time.
Yeah.
You done messed me up. Battlefront, 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 the front of the battle, the Battlefront.
Right.
Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, that came out when I was like, I came out at least, I
20
want to
years
say
ago.
18 years ago, 20 years ago.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like close to 20 years ago.
Hmm.
Battlefield
Front.
1, Battlefront 1. Yeah, see, you got me on that because I'm thinking Battlefield 4 too. And that
Right.
was the other game I thought of.
Yeah.
Ah, golly. Battlefront 1, that came out, yeah, that came out 20 years ago. And then Battlefront 2 came out shortly after that. I think within like 2 years after that.
Yeah.
So there's no seamless from ground to space, but there was one, and this was my jam. If I wasn't playing the campaign, which the campaign on that game, oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm screwed to something. I don't know if it's from my desk or from my chair or what, but I'm gonna figure that out later.
Yeah.
Um, if I wasn't playing the campaign and I wanted to play an assault, Mos Eisley, you get to play as all of the villains and heroes. I'm
Yep.
talking from the old to the prequels. You know what I'm saying? Like you got Boba Fett, Jango Fett, Darth Maul, Darth Vader, General Grievous, uh, Palpatine. Who else was in that?
What's his name? What's his name? Oh, Sweet Christmas. Um, he
Count
had
Dooku.
yes.
Count Dooku. Count Dooku. He was in there too. Like you could play all those guys as the villains. As the heroes, you got Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker. Also Anakin Skywalker was on the bad side.
Okay.
Because it was after episode 3. So you got Luke Skywalker, you got Padme, you got
Leia.
Princess Leia, you got Han Solo, you got Chewbacca, you got like you have Kit Fisto.
Okay.
Um, no, sorry, not Kit Fisto, Kiadi Mundi, because Kit Fisto wasn't it. That was one thing that I will say. Why was Kit Fisto not in that? Whoever you are. You had Ki-Adi-Mundi, you had Mace Windu, and you did not have Kit Fisto. What is wrong with you?
Oh
Anyway, moving
man,
on.
Kit Fisto was a good
Uh,
Jedi.
Kit Fisto was one of the best Jedi.
Yeah,
Aside, and this is the other thing that I'm going to harp on as well because this kind of frustrated me. Why was there no Qui-Gon Jinn in that? Qui-Gon
there was
Jinn
no,
is the best, the best Jedi of Star Wars, hands down.
dude.
Luke Skywalker
That's
can
my
take a
favorite Jedi.
backseat.
That's
Oh
my
man,
favorite Jedi. Like
dude,
Qui-Gon Jinn. Like I get what people saying about Obi-Wan and Anakin,
he's
like
the
before he
goat.
turned to the dark side. Like I get all of
Yeah,
that. But Qui-Gon Jinn has been my dude since day one. Like
same.
when I got the when I like I one of the it was either my birthday or Christmas is one year got a toy lightsaber. And I think I still have it around here somewhere. But
Mhm.
I said, I want the Qui-Gon Jinn lightsaber.
Mhm.
And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, it just felt like first of
Mhm.
all,
Mhm.
green's not technically my favorite color, but I'm like, I like the dude so much. I'm like, I want his lightsaber.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, if you follow the lore,
Hmm.
I'm gonna go into lore a little bit about Qui-Gon Jinn because I am a big nerd, and I just gotta say it.
Yeah, yeah,
Qui-Gon Jinn was the most powerful Jedi for three reasons. Number one, he discovered how to become a Force ghost before anyone else ever did,
yeah. Okay.
which is insane. Not even Yoda knew how to do that. He taught Yoda how to do that, and he also taught Obi-Wan how to do that as a Force ghost.
Right.
Um, Number two, he almost went dark side. He went borderline dark side and then came back, which gave him abilities that other Jedis did not have. Because his ability with the Force was so strong that he essentially uh he essentially was able to, in ways, when someone was attacking, he could actually see the holes in their attack and then count. And
Mhm.
that was just what he was great at. Uh, why did he lose to Darth Maul? Story purposes. That's the only thing that I can really make heads or tails of. I like Darth Maul. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I love Darth Maul. Love Darth Maul. I think Qui-Gon, since George Lucas tried to say like, well, Qui-Gon was ready to die, and that's why he died. It's like he was gonna train Anakin, bro.
Right.
Like maybe he saw the future and saw what would happen if he trained Anakin. Anakin would be completely light side, and then the Force would never get balanced. You could argue that, but I don't think so. I think it was just George Lucas wanted to carry the story. I get it. I'm a writer. Okay.
Right.
I get it. When you have to kill a character off, you have to kill a character off, and you don't want to do it, and you don't need to explain why. It's okay. You
Yeah.
can just say it's for the story and leave it at that. It's fine. But how dare you? Anyway, moving on. That was one of like I wish Qui-Gon Jinn was in that game. The
Mhm.
game that he was in, you had to essentially win the right to play as him, was Force Unleashed,
Really?
specifically on the PSP. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, specifically on the PSP. So on the PSP, Force Unleashed,
Yeah.
after you completed the game, you can go through challenges where you're fighting Sith and Jedi as the apprentice. I forget what his name is off the top of my head.
Oh,
Um, yeah, Stormbreaker or not Stormbreaker. That's
shoot.
close though.
Yeah, cause basically they
That's
said
close. Star Destroyer? No.
no, Star Killer.
Star Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was so close but so far.
Yeah.
Um
I'll it was close enough.
Yeah, so you start as Star Killer and you start killing all these people, and like as you kill them, you start like being able to be certain characters.
Yeah.
It took me 3 weeks to beat Qui-Gon. 3 weeks. And when you die, you have to start over from the first guy. Like it was so frustrating. Then when I beat Qui-Gon, you get to play as Qui-Gon, and I'm sitting there just wrecking people as Qui-Gon. It was beautiful. It's amazing.
Now,
Oh, that
s-
game on PSP, man. Ooh.
so well, there was another game that you get to play them too, but only in a battle arena sense.
Okay.
It was it came out earlier. It is called Star Wars Obi-Wan. Yeah, and
I have not heard of that.
okay, this game was cool for like a couple of different reasons.
All
Um,
right.
First off, you didn't have like it didn't play like what's that? It didn't play like Jedi Academy. It didn't play like
Okay.
Jedi Knight. No. It was more like it played really weird. It played uniquely. So you would use the left thumbstick to you would use the left thumbstick to like move, right? And
Yeah.
then somehow you would use the right thumbstick once the lightsaber was activated, you would use it uh to to swing the lightsaber. It was really weird. And so you had the left
I
trigger.
wouldn't like that.
Hold on. The left trigger was because
Yeah.
this is on the original Xbox, so they didn't have bumpers back then. So the left trigger was the it was like the force activation, and so left trigger and X was like you get to like pull their weapon. Um, Left trigger and Y was for you to force push. I forget what B was. Left trigger and A was the force jump, and you had the left trigger, and if you press down on the like the right thumbstick, you could throw your lightsaber, and you could control it with the right thumbstick on like which direction it would go, and then it would go as far as you and it would spin almost like Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would go out, but it would spin. And then once the force would like leave, because like it was a whole bar, he would hold his hand out and it would come back to him. And then his now here was the cool part, right? The cool part was there was there was a it was like force slow-mo.
Huh.
And what was cool about it was like you could still use it was for like a little period of time, 10,
Yeah.
15, maybe 20 seconds. And it was cool because everything was like the Matrix.
Okay.
Everything. So there was this one mission where you had to because this the whole game takes place during episode one.
Right.
Like and so there were some levels that will overlap with episode one in terms of lore, and there was like but
Yeah.
most of it was outside of it. But there was this one mission where you had to go and investigate like some what they call these people. It was like whatever some space thugs were. Was like
Okay.
it was some space thugs, but they were getting involved with these people called the Gen Ha, right? And the
Okay.
Gen Ha were like these people who like were all in red. They looked like Knights of the Old Republic Sith, but they were all red, but they weren't Sith. And
Hmm.
they had these helmets on and they had these special swords, right? To where it could stand up against like lightsabers and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And see, the cool thing about it is like they would have these weapons, right? And it was basically like a grenade launcher. If you got hit,
Hmm.
it was basically a rat, right?
Hmm.
Because you would have to find health packs. You couldn't automatically heal. You would have to find these like green things, and it would restore your health. So what I would do in that level is like because I got hit with one, and I'm like I didn't even know like I'm like, and it was my first time playing it. I got hit with one, blew up,
Yeah.
game over, right? So then I'm like I had to start the level all over again. So
Right.
then one time I panicked, right? And then I I think I panicked. I think it was over 20 years ago, so the memory's getting a little fuzzy. So
Yeah.
I I saw this thing and I'm thinking like, oh man, I gotta slow down, right? And so and so then I ended up jumping, and as soon as because you can hear when the grenade launcher launches and it looks like a little wavy beam. And so it's going through that. And so then what I end up doing is I end up jumping just like the Matrix. It looks so cool. And then I turned the thing at the height of my jump, and it did no. And so Obi-Wan did this 180 flip in midair in slow motion, still dodging the thing. I was like, oh shoot. I think I got hit because I was so pressed with the thing. I think I ended
Yeah.
up dying still, but it
Yeah.
don't even matter because it was worth it. So I'm like, I
Yeah.
know how to get it. So it was a cool thing. Um, it was a cool game, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
that like if you weren't used to it, that thing would definitely bother you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
But you could,
Is there?
but you could use your lightsaber, and they would try to attack you with crowbars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were so good. Well, they were so good to where like they would snap off because you would keep hitting them with the lightsaber. So it was like it had little details that was I think ahead of its time too.
Yeah. For sure. It sounds like it. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I would be interested for them to like remake that, honestly, nowadays, because that sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever thought back on, I just had a random thought.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought back on a game and realized you did not realize how to actually play the game effectively until near the very end, but you're so angry about the game that you do not want to try to play it again, even though you could be 10 times more effective?
Uh I don't know if I ever had that, but the closest well, um usually I would get stuck before that happens. Like well before that
Okay.
happens.
Yeah.
Um for example, I played The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
Did I tell you this story
Maybe. I don't know. Go
about
ahead,
the
though.
werewolf?
No.
Okay. All right. So boom. So I'm setting up I'm playing The Witcher 3 because I'm like I think I just got the PlayStation 4 maybe in January, right?
Okay.
And of course, like there's not much games out because it just came out like 7 months prior,
Right.
right?
Yeah. I'm
So,
amazed you were able to get one in January, honestly.
it was PlayStation 4. None of the stuff happened, you know. It wasn't world ending stuff, so they was pretty much in stock at that point.
Well,
And
I know, but like there was a point where PlayStation 4 was almost impossible to get, at least in Oregon, where I was. Like
oh,
you, every time you went to go to the store to try to look at a PS4, it's like, we'll return eventually. We'll be here.
well, yeah, and then here's the thing, right? So, Sears was still open, and I was working a part-time job at the time,
Okay.
and I was already out of high school, and I want to say I was working some type of job, and I don't know if I had classes that day, or if I did. the way that I scheduled it, I got to go home earlier on that day. So I went on, I think I got off of class
Yeah.
and I went to Sears when it was still open at the time. And
Okay.
and everybody's at work, so I picked it up. So I'm like, all right, so I got that and I think I got some games for it. I think I got two games. I think I got no, I only got one game. I got Tomb Raider,
Okay.
the remake,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and
Pretty
so
good
then
game.
yeah. And so the first one. Well,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother
Second
thing.
one's okay. Second
It's-
one's okay.
yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, I
It's all
mean,
right. Mechanics wise, it's great.
mechanics was great. Story,
Yeah.
yeah. So, it wasn't until so that was 20 early 2015.
Okay. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
PS4
I'm
had been out for a while.
huh?
PS4 had been out for a while.
Okay, yeah. Well,
PS4 came out like when I'm pretty sure PS4 came out when we were still in high school.
yeah. It had to be 2013, 2014, something like that.
Yeah. Okay, right now.
Making me oh yeah, so it came out 2013.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I picked it up. Picked it up January 2014. And so The Witcher didn't come out until 2015, I'm pretty sure. Witcher 3, right? And so
Yeah.
I just had like uh I just had like a whole basically year and a half. Yeah. It didn't come out until 2015. So I basically didn't have like
Yes.
had a whole year and a half to where I didn't really get any good games. I had I had that Tomb Raider. I didn't get and then I had to I think I maybe re got an HD remake of some other game, right? And I had Dying Light when that came out the following January. I think I had Vampire, you know, that whole game. But for like a year and a half, I didn't get any good games. You know, I think I might have gotten Xenoverse, but that didn't come out until 2015, I don't think. But regardless of the situation, so when The Witcher came out, in May 2015, that was also the year that Arkham Knight came out, so in June. So I got The Witcher 3, and when I started playing The Witcher 3, I was like, "Oh, everybody's talking about this Witcher 3. This Witcher 3 seemed like a good game, it's an RPG." I was hankering for a good RPG because I haven't played one in a while. And so I played it. And so I'm killing off these foglets, not foglets, these swamp monster things, these blue swamp monster things. And
Okay.
so I'm killing them and I'm collecting their remains and all this other stuff. I'm seeing the thing and I I didn't know how the inventory worked and I'm not used to it because it seemed like more PC kind of layout almost. You know how RPGs get like that. And so
Oh yeah.
and so and so then I'm like, okay, now I have to deal with fixing weapons and stuff like that because my armor is about to break and losing its effectiveness, and my sword's about to break and losing that effectiveness. So I'm seeing all this stuff, and I don't know how to fix it because I'm thinking of I'm just gonna dive right in, right? So then I get to this mission where I have to like kill this werewolf. I'm thinking like, okay, I got a pretty good handle on the game right now. I'm gonna start swinging, use these strong attacks. I done leveled up some. I know how everything works now. And so then I get to this part to where I get halfway and the game lets you get halfway before it triggers the next event. And it's like, okay, now he's gonna max out his power. So now the second stage of the boss fight is you hit him, but but his health automatically regenerates 5 points every like second or so. And so I'm like, oh man, I can't defeat this. So
Oh,
I've died plenty of times, and so
yeah.
that was the thing where I just restarted the game because now I know how the leveling up system works. Now I know what
Right,
to put
right.
my points into. So I got good. I got good at it to where like I played the game a couple of times over, and I found out, and especially like with the DLC helped out with that with the of Blood and the whole season one expansion of Blood and Wine and all this other stuff. But even before that, I found out that I'm like, man, if I can just get these lesser red mutagens, they got these things called mutagens because it increases like your attack power by like 2%. And if you put like three red skill things in a row, um, and well, if you get three red mutagens in a row, it like it like bumps up all of them. It gets like a combined bonuses, and if you put your attack skills in that category, it beefs those up. So I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna stack everything. So you can combine
Yeah,
lesser red mutagens, three lesser red mutagens into um a normal red mutagen, but you can combine three normal red mutagens into a greater red mutagen, I think the attack power is something like 5, 10, and then 15%. And then
uh-huh.
with the little extra thing, like if you're putting it in all of them, right? So it's like, oh, I'm just gonna stack these, make my
Yeah,
skills like normal attack skills, and then I figured out how to get the right weapons and purchase the right weapons or make the right weapons because I'm like, oh, I'm getting this one with a bleeding effect, and then I'm gonna put this
yeah.
little rune on it that's gonna cause extra fire damage and extra. So I was just like stacking up the attack bonuses and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So then it just got to the point to where like nobody could really mess with me, and
Hmm.
so that's generally how I treat it. I was like, yeah, but. Yeah, that's the game to where I started over and I usually get stuck first before I
Yeah,
like get to that point of like frustration because chances are I've built my character in such a way or I've played it in such a way to where it's like it's generally worked well for me and I
yeah,
don't generally deviate from it.
yeah. I, how do I put this? I have issues when it comes to like a game being too easy.
Okay.
I don't
Are
like it.
you an
I
achievement
don't like
hunter
it. I not an achievement hunter necessarily as much as like
or a trophy hunter, I guess technically?
yes and no.
Okay.
Um, it's more for me. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
so much about the trophy. It's more like I want to make this like I want to make sure that if I get into a situation in this game, I'm the problem, not
Yeah.
the other person. Like
Right.
I'm the one you got to deal with, right? So I'll do stupid stuff like purposely keep a pistol if I don't need to, just to get proficient with it in case I ever need to go to a point where I only have a pistol.
Hmm.
Like crazy stuff like that. It's not all the time, but it's every once in a while. One of the games that I thoroughly enjoy, and I've talked about it before,
Hmm.
and I will probably talk about it again because it's just an amazing game.
Yeah.
Um, Days Gone.
I was about to say, I already knew Days Gone.
God, Days Gone. I love Days Gone. That game, there are so many things that you could do in that game to make your life so much easier
Hmm.
that I myself did not realize, and I made my life terrible the first playthrough. Like absolutely terrible. Like I was constantly like, yeah, I'm gonna make my melee weapon like this ultimate thing and da 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 da. Da. I don't even mess with the melee weapons anymore, man. Like I'll just pick up
Really?
an axe or a machete. I'm like, cool. I ain't fixing you. When you break, you break. I'm getting a new one. I ain't fixing you.
Yeah.
So there was multiple times I would use like gears and stuff to fix that, and then my bike would break and I wouldn't be able to fix my bike. And so it's like, ah, crap, you know. And then the the crossbow is actually probably the best weapon in that game. If
Okay.
you learn how to use it right and you learn how to like use the different darts and everything and cause these, dude, yeah, crossbow is your best friend. So if you learn how to be proficient with that, and I got very proficient with the regular bolts, and I didn't realize you could do all these other different bolts for way too long into the game. Like I figured it out during the first playthrough, but it was way too long into the game where I was like, I could have been doing this pretty much the whole time.
Right.
Like that, anyway. Um, the other thing that I feel really stupid about, and I hate to admit this, I didn't realize you could just pull into the gas station, pull up next to the gas station, and fill up your bike.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't realize that. So I would be being chased by a horde, run out of
Gas.
gasoline,
Oh no.
and
No.
I pull into the gas station because I'm like, I know there's gas at the gas station. I get off the bike and I go running around to find a gas can. And there are moments where I had to ditch the gas can and use it as a weapon because I'm running out of ammo. And I'm like,
Yeah.
shoot that, they explode. Cool. It wasn't until I was coming back from Crater Lake, so way, way, way into the game, and
Yeah.
I pulled into the gas station. I literally stopping to try to find something, but all of a sudden it's like, hold this button for gas, and I'm like, what? And so I hold it, and he grabs it, and I'm just like, I sat there for like 5 minutes just staring at the screen, just angry with myself. I'm like, you moron. You could have, oh, this would have been so much easier. Like, what were you doing when they explained that? Were you just not, were you ADHDing out? What was happening? Like, what happened to you? What happened? I'm so mad. So mad at myself.
Have you ever encountered like while you're filling up gas, like a zombie has came to attack you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Like
that's
you can
great.
see them in the background as like they're doing that little cinematic
Mm-hmm.
refilling animation. I'm like, oh shoot,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
hate that.
Mm-hmm.
And and
Oh,
and here's the thing. You know what threw me off? Like fighting
mm.
them the brutes,
Yeah. Yeah.
Terminators, Terminators,
Terminators.
because
Yeah.
they like you would throw like it was funny because I was just watching a clip of this the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and because somebody's playing the or posted game clips,
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking at it, and this dude he had basically threw one of them, like, it's not like a Molotov cocktails, but it's the actual jug version, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
that's the napalm.
yeah, the napalm, exactly. And so
Mm-hmm.
what ended
Mm-hmm.
up happening is he threw it, and he has the LMG, right? And
Mm-hmm.
dude, the brute is on fire, and he's
Mm-hmm.
just tanking it, and he's walking to him on fire while he's just pumping
Mm-hmm.
in round after round of LMG, still getting closer to him while he's slowly starting to run and charge at him. It starts to like throw like a giant haymaker.
Yep.
I'm like,
Best
I
way to
can't
take
do it.
down brutes. Best way to take down brutes is crossbows, man.
Yeah,
Seriously. Like
yeah,
everybody's like, "Oh, the crossbow sucks." Dude, if you got the right bolt,
yeah.
like you got the frenzy bolt or you got the poison bolt and you hit them with that and then you set them on fire,
Yeah.
like you're good. You know?
Al-
It's
Also,
yeah.
the strategy when I was like going into like clearing out like caves and junk like that.
Oh yeah. No, I did terrible. I did terrible.
Well, I had to wait until like nighttime.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because like it was like there would always be like maybe like a few of them
So,
in there, but then once you start doing it, you hear
mhm,
and then
yeah.
all of them just start running. And so now it's
Mhm,
it's it's
mhm.
just my head is just filled with panic. I'm like, we just gotta get hopefully my bike don't run out of gas,
Ah, man. I
you know.
every single like that is the one game I did 100%. That is
Yeah.
the one game I did. Um, man. So there's one hive. It's
Yeah.
like the first hive when you're at the camp where the woman makes everybody work and she treats them like garbage, basically.
Yeah.
So across the way, um, if you go out of that area, you go across, like you go out of their little area, take a right, and you go across and you go to go up the bridge.
Hmm.
On the other side of the lake is another is a cave, right? Where all of them are hiding. That cave is the easiest cave
Hmm.
by far. Because you run in, you make a little noise, then you take a right and you run into this little alcove that is right there, and then you just wait with your full auto and just headshots.
Right.
And they'll try to come through that funnel, and you just take them out that way. Easiest way to do it. It takes about 5 to 10 minutes, but I mean, if you got enough ammo and you're patient, you'll be fine. And you want to shoot something that has noise to it because if you're just shooting silence and they're not, people they're gonna have them dying, but they're not gonna really care about that. So you want to have some noise happening and have them keep coming at you. But it's probably the easiest thing to do, honestly.
Well, I would be like a real like hunter because what I would do is I would wait till night. And then what I would do is I would set up my proximity bombs
Oh
right
yeah, yeah, I
outside the
do that
thing.
too.
And then I would sneak in, equip my napalm, throw
Mhm.
like a couple of them bad boys, run out the cave, wait till they explode, then start sprinting. And by that time, it's like you done killed like 70, 80% of like the horde. And it's like, oh, this
Yeah,
ain't
but it's not a challenge unless you do it during the day.
I'm not in for the challenge. I'm in it to survive. And that's the thing, like that's the one of those things where it's like if you didn't keep up with the game, right? Like you realize that that's a mistake very quick. Now, towards like
Yeah,
maybe towards the end, like if I went back to play it after I finished the game, I would
yeah,
mess around in the daytime just to see what it's like, right? And I would do those
yeah.
challenges just to see what it's like. But but yeah, no, like the first time going in broad daylight, I was like, oh shoot, this is a lot. This is a lot. This is a lot. And so I didn't know to wait
Uh,
until nighttime until I was like,
yeah.
till I saw like a survival guide on like one of the loading screens when I was fast
Mm,
traveling or something like that. And so yeah, no. I meant to mention my game earlier that I wish,
yeah.
would change, and hopefully they're going to do it. But Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic was
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
those games to where I'm like, man, it's a great game. Story wise, it's a great game. Have you played it?
I haven't. I've seen playthroughs though.
Okay. The very
Yeah.
first one, I feel like in terms of story, it's the greatest, right? Is it's the greatest it's the greater of the two Knights of the Old Republic in terms of
Okay.
story, the way that it started off, the way that it gets
Hmm.
executed, the way that it slowly starts to ramp up, and
Hmm.
with the plot twist and everything like that. Just how the planet of Terrace, right? That whole thing. But that whole idea of like that turn-based combat, that didn't do it for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I could work with it, and I'm okay with it now because I love the story so much, and I played the game so much to where I'm like I
Yeah.
appreciate it for what it was at the time. But I'm like,
Yeah.
man, if this could just be a bit better, like in terms of because
Hmm.
they let you wield guns and swords. So I was
Yeah.
like, how do you keep the RPG mechanics of
Hmm.
Star Wars, right?
Hmm.
And leveling up and junk like that. And then also like having that idea to where you can free flow between ranged combat and melee combat
Hmm.
and keeping it engaging.
Hmm.
And so I was trying to figure out, well, what RPG would come the closest to that, to where it has that balance. And I think I found a good one.
Okay.
It's called Greedfall.
Okay.
Greedfall was Greedfall had melee mechanics as well as range mechanics, and it also had a power system.
Okay.
Um, and but here's the shocking thing. They're making a Greedfall 2, and they're turning that into a turn-based RPG. And I don't like, and I'm like, why? Why? Like, you had a
I
good
don't like
thing going.
turn-based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
I don't
I
like
was like,
turn-based.
I was like, if they made the Knights of the Old Republic remake, which they are gonna make, it's been on hold and went on and got back off a
Hmm.
hold. If they
Hmm.
made it like the first Greedfall in terms of like gameplay, they
Yep.
could really do something.
Oh yeah.
They could put in force push and they could still have their whole power system and everything like that. And
Hmm.
but that turn-based combat, it's got to go.
It does, man. Final Fantasy made that a thing. Like
Yeah,
Final Fantasy was big in making that a thing. And I'll be honest, I don't play many Final Fantasies because of it. It's just not my it's not my thing. You know,
yeah,
I ain't about that, you know. Like I prefer to have free range combat. Like we're not in the Revolutionary War.
right.
We're not fighting the Brits. It's not you shoot, I shoot. This isn't chess. This
Right.
is if you can best me, great. If not, well, sucks to be you, you know?
Yeah. Now here's some alternatives, right?
Okay.
Because what I do is when I look at a great game, I'm like, if I want to improve the
Hmm.
mechanics, just like mentally speaking, I'm
Hmm.
like, what game comes the closest to like that idea of something that I would say this could be replaced with? So one is Greedfall. The second I feel like
Hmm.
would be the more RPG Assassin's Creeds, right? Even though I don't
Hmm.
like Assassin's Creed as a RPG, but
Yeah.
if you're doing it, if you put like Origins or Assassin's Creed Origins or what's the other one? Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I would
Yeah.
say I would say that
Valhalla.
would fit more in line with the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic for
Yeah,
modern
I think
day.
so. I think so.
And then
I
and
think a lot of people actually really enjoy those kind of playthroughs on
yeah,
as
yeah.
well, you know.
Yeah. And see, here's the thing. You still get the and you still get the navigation.
Hmm.
And then here's what I would do. I would get it to where you could bump up the customization with like the swoop bikes,
Hmm.
right? And make it more like a
Hmm.
Days Gone to where you could customize the bike.
Yeah.
Um, and then you could also and make it for traversal. And then you can also what was it? You could also do something like how Starfield did it, where
Yeah.
you could like basically customize your starship. Now,
Mm.
in each of the games, you had the Ebon Hawk was which was basically like the Millennium Falcon. It was
Mhm.
basically that it almost is shaped exactly the same way.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But it was still cool, right? And
Yeah.
so if they could have did that and then balance out the whole mechanics of like how you were saying the space combat, do space
Yeah.
combat kind of like Starfield, and then
Hmm.
um and then maybe, you know, traversal more like Days Gone with the like mechanics of um actually Days Gone like would also be an appropriate thing because it already has that balance between melee and
Yeah.
ranged combat.
Yeah,
Um
because you can actually modify. Well, you can't really modify your range combat too much. You just get
no.
more guns,
Yeah.
which I kind of found disappointing about Days Gone. Because there were certain guns that's like, I really like this gun. I would like to continue to use it, but this one is a lot more powerful,
Right.
and I don't like it as much. But I need the power. Like yeah, I wish that they would give opportunities to like if you want to keep a gun from beginning to end of game,
Yeah.
you should be able to do that.
And that's why
Red
like
Dead does that.
right. And that's why I appreciate something like Army you know, did they do that? I almost wanted to say Army of Two.
They kind
Um
of did. They kind of did. Not to the scale that I'm thinking, but they kind
okay.
of did.
Okay, well
But
then I'll say, and you know I mentioned it before, like a Peace Walker or a Metal Gear
mm,
Solid 5, where it's like, okay,
yeah.
you put, or even like Ghost Recon. I know we used to talk about Ghost Recon, you know, but the whole idea of like you get this gun and there's different levels of guns to where it's like maybe
Hmm.
they make a marginal bit of difference, or maybe they have like each subsequent level. I know with Metal Gear Solid 5's implementation of customization of weapons, each level it gets higher. There is a wider range of customizations as well as the furthering of the stats within like penetration power, grouping, that type of thing. But it's marginal in a sense to where um it's in the realm I feel like of realism. It's not so much stretched out to where you couldn't play with that level one gun. But yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I would say.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard because it's like, yeah, it's nice to have new weapons and everything, but
Yeah.
when I fall
But
in love with a weapon, I fall in love with a weapon, you know?
yeah. You can also do something like, you know, Far Cry.
Yeah, to a degree.
But yeah,
To a degree.
well, listen, man. I know that we have to wrap up, so I do want to
Yes, we do.
mention a few last things.
Yep.
Um, you know, just in video game news, general video game news, they're putting out another Sniper Elite that's coming out
Yeah.
beginning of next year called Sniper Elite Resistance. Apparently, I don't know when it's gonna be, but they're putting out another Sniper Elite. Probably gonna be January. I think I saw somewhere where it's like, oh, somewhere in January. They're also doing
Great.
another Mafia game called Mafia: The
Oh,
Old Country, something like that.
okay. Okay.
So
That one is that one's a tough game, bro.
yeah, I played the third one. I haven't finished it
Uh,
yet. I played the first two of like the definitive editions when they remade the first one and kind of did a HD scaling of the second one. And so I just haven't gone back to playing the third one yet. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to Sniper Elite. That I'm replaying Sniper Elite 5 right now,
yeah,
and such a good game. Such But
yeah.
anyway, we do need to wrap up,
All right.
so I gotta
Well,
get
then
under.
I guess I'll wrap it up here. Well, thank you
Yeah,
guys so much for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening to this on Spotify, we'll see what happens with Rumble. We were trying to investigate that. So we'll see what happens there, but definitely
we
on
would like
YouTube.
to be on, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we'll see what happens.
But definitely YouTube and Spotify. First four episodes are up. And then Jordan, you want to tell them about what's happening with your book and where to follow you and all that
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah. So, if you don't know, I'm going on a book tour all around Iowa for the next 7 months, six different locations, one weekend, one day a month, basically. It's only like a few hours at a time. But I will be selling Cade, a Wolf Jackson story, which is a novel that I wrote. It is book one of a series that I am developing. My wife is going to be selling A Gospel-Centered Christmas by Bailey Flowers. It's a children's book. She's also going on tour with me. Her book is about basically the gospel. It's from creation of man to the birth of Christ, death and resurrection, what that means for us. Cade Wolf Jackson's story is a story about a former Marine living in Billings, Montana, who basically doesn't have a purpose in life and he has to find one. And he winds up discovering redemption and healing in ways that he never thought possible. There's a lot of action. There's a bulldog named Beef. There's a lot of working through inner trauma stuff. It's just a beautiful story that the Lord helped me write. It turned out pretty good. So those two books are going on tour. But also, if you are interested in family get-togethers and parties, Get Knocked, A Crime Before Christmas, which is written by me and produced by Joe over here. Produced, designed, what should we say? I don't
Artist,
art,
artistified. I don't know. Well,
Artisified
yeah.
will be eventually turned into a digital online format where it's actually a game in itself that you guys can play, which he's going to do because I did my part of writing it, so that's more his shtick. But Get Nog, A Crime Before Christmas on Amazon, as well as Cade, a Wolf Jackson story on Amazon, and A Gospel Centered Christmas on Amazon. If you're in the Iowa area, we're going to be in Ankeny, November 23rd from 12 to 3 p.m. at Porchlight Coffee House. If you want to come by, buy a book, get a sign, get to meet me, get to meet my beautiful bride, and yeah, some cool things.
Yeah. Also, you want to plug your uh YouTube channel?
Yes, Redeeming Dry Bones YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram. We're going to be doing some more things on there. The YouTube channel kind of died for a little bit, but we're going to be bringing that back. And also, we're going to be doing Spotify. We're going to start doing podcasts. A different format than this. It's a lot more focused on healing, working through trauma, working through things like that. I got some other things in the mix that I haven't quite like fully set in stone yet. But yes, if you want to check out Redeeming Dry Bones on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, and it will also be going on Spotify.
All right. Awesome. And then me, for me, you can follow me at youtube.com/kingdom building culture. I also have a website, kingdombuildingculture.com. And basically we alert people to different people who's doing different things in the kingdom using their time, talent, and treasure. We're gonna have Jordan on there pretty soon, and we've had a couple of people who did artwork for me, and then there's there's a musician on there who he raps and he actually does Bible study on there. Not on the website, but he has his own like kind of TikTok and platform where he does Bible study, and he also does gospel rap and stuff like that, gospel hip hop, however you want to phrase it. And then there is another person on there who's made their own like biblical anime, their own Christian based anime. And so you can see that article on that on there, as well as there are I do visual parables. So what I do is I take modern day movies, video games, and TV shows, and I basically use the concept of what's going on in the story or using different characters in the story and relating them to biblical concepts. Some of those are on YouTube under Kingdom Building Culture, but the rest that I could not put on YouTube for copyright reasons are on the website. Um, and so to be able to view those fully, you can catch it at kingdombuildingculture.com/blogs, and you'll be able to see the next ones that go on from there. And obviously check out this thing, check out Mechanics of Myth, because this is actually going to be on its own YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mechanics of Myth, also
Yeah.
Spotify Mechanics of Myth, right? And if you ever want to reach out and email us something, it'll be at mechanicsofmyth@gmail.com. So you guys can like start to send us mail now.
Only fan mail. Like, if you want to give us ideas of what maybe we should talk about, if you have questions about something that we talked about, or said,
Yeah.
hey, could you revisit this topic because it was good? That's the kind of emails we're looking for. We
Yeah.
don't we don't want
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
we don't want you, and you
Don't.
know who you are when I say we don't want you. I don't need to say any further.
So yeah, no messiness, no
No.
just
Yep.
stuff related to the show. All
Yep.
right.
Yep.
And then also, these are going to be up. This day has been a little bit of an exception because right now we're actually filming this on Thursday, but
Yep.
these are going to actually be up probably Tuesday morning. So
Sweet.
probably before you go to work, before most people go to work. So if you wake up and you got to be at work by 6, it'll probably be up by then.
If you can listen to a podcast while you're at work, it'll be there for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's that. So
Yeah.
we just want to say thank you guys again so much for watching or listening wherever you are, and we will see you in the next one. Stay blessed,
Yes.
stay
God
encouraged in
bless.
Jesus' name.
Yeah, man. All right, brother.